Hello, children. I'm Vicky Carlton, and I'm going to read you a Bible story today. This story is taken from the Holy Bible, and it comes out of this book, the Holy Bible. And I'm going to tell you a story that is so important today, a wonderful, wonderful story. It's something that happened many hundreds of years ago, but it still affects us today. And it's the story of Abraham and Sarah. Now, if you have a look, you can see that Abraham and Sarah are quite old, aren't they? Okay. But they really, really, really wanted to have a baby. And this is their story. Now, before I start, I'm going to light a candle. I'm not actually going to light it, I'm going to switch it on. This is an electronic candle. And so I'm putting this candle on. And this is to remind me that Jesus is with me all the time. Jesus is the light of the world. Now you can see behind me, I've got a desert. I've got a desert and you can't see very many houses there, can you? And this story is set in a place a little bit like that as well. So I'm going to read you some words about what happened hundreds of years ago. Now, this Abraham, all right, Abraham was a very, very good man, right? A very, very good man. And he loved to pray to God every day. He was a very good man. He always tried to be kind and do the right thing. But he was a little bit sad. You can see his face there. He was a little bit sad because he didn't have any children. He lived in a place called right? That's a strange name, isn't it? With his wife and many relatives and servants as well. So he had quite a lot of money. One day, God spoke to Abraham and he told him that he had to pack all his belongings and leave Ur. Can you imagine if your parents said to you, tomorrow we're going to leave. We're going to leave where we live right now and we're going to go and live somewhere else. God said we have to do that. You would be so surprised if you just had to pack up and leave. But Abraham listened to God. Abraham was very obedient. God told him that he was going to lead him to a wonderful place, a new and wonderful place. And Sarah and his children were going to live there. And it was a special place where he's going to have very many children. So he got his camels. He had loads, hundreds of camels, and he put all his belongings on his camels because they didn't have cars or trucks in those days, and they took off. But he's a bit worried because he wasn't sure what it was going to be like in this new country. They rode for many, many days, and the Lord told Abraham which way they had to go. Finally, they came to Canaan. And they passed through to Shechem, near an oak tree, the oak tree of Moreh. The Lord told Abraham that this land would be for his children and their children and their children and their children, and so on. And so his parents helped to pitch the tents because they lived in tents and to feed the animals and the sheep. And God told Abraham that his descendants, that means his kids and their kids and their kids and their kids and so forth, would be as numerous as the stars in the sky. That's a lot, isn't it? If you go outside tonight and look at the stars in the sky, that is a lot. So Abraham told God, but I can't have any children now. Sarah and I are really, really old. Look at us, God. We're really, really old. We haven't been able to have any children yet. And I'm sure we're very, very old and we're not going to be able to have any children. But God said, no, you will. You are going to have a baby. You are going to have a baby. Later on, 3 men appeared and Abraham gave them rest and food and water. And they were special messengers from God. And these 3 men told him that Sarah was going to have a baby son quite soon. She was going to get pregnant. Sarah was listening and she laughed. She said, I'm about 90 years old. I can't have a baby. That'd be like your grandma or your great grandma having a baby. They don't usually, do they? So he laughed and laughed and laughed. And Abraham said, I'm 100 years old. How can I possibly be the father of the baby? But it did happen. It did happen. Sarah had a beautiful baby. There they are with their baby. They were so happy and they called him Isaac. Sarah was so happy and she said, God has blessed us and brought great joy to us. Isn't that an amazing story? It's like a miracle that an old couple like this could have a baby and that baby would get married and they would have lots of other babies and those babies would get married and they'd have lots of babies and there would be descendants of Abraham as many or more than the stars in the night sky. You see, our God is wonderful. He's an amazing God and he can do amazing things. So we need every day to thank God for all the things that he's done for us. And we need to remember to pray to God every day and to tell him all our troubles, to ask him for help. And also we need to read the wonderful stories in the Bible, because that will help us to stay close to God. I look forward to seeing you next time. Okay, bye.
For more of Victoria Carlton's tips, go to YouTube and search Victoria Carlton Programs. Victoria's products are available on Teachers Pay Teachers. They cover literacy, emotional intelligence, and Sunday school lessons. Victoria's website address, blog, and email address are on the screen in front of you. Victoria Carlton reserves the right of copyright on all her products.